And we are live here from the nation's capital, Toronto in Canada. Actually, it's not the nation's capital, but it is the spiritual capital, if you will, of Toronto, Canada. So who am I? I never do this, right? Oh, the Hypnopixie is watching. Hello, Hypnopixie. So here's the thing. I always do these things. Bigger heart for you, Hypnopixie. Big heart like this. Let's say to the moon and back. I always assume people know me when I do these things. And maybe they do. But who am I? For the people who don't know me, who am I? My name is Luke Michael Howard. I'm a clinical hypnotist. I specialise in helping people overcome anxiety rapidly. I help fix people that believe they're unfixable. I help people solve problems they believe are unsolvable. Now, I've worked one-on-one with clients, but I've also worked for many celebrities and even the government. I have a particular set of skills that make me a nightmare for my clients' anxiety. If you've got a problem and you've got nowhere else to turn, and your last resort, come find me. I can fix you. Hey Camille, how are you? Linan, how are you? Nice to see you. If you're out there, give me a thumbs up, give me a wave. So yeah, I've been doing this for about 23 years now. And probably the number one reason, as I go up in my tone for some reason, I have no idea why, that people come to see me now, some form of anxiety, whether that be social anxiety, general anxiety disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, just to name a few. Health anxiety is a big one now, with the coronavirus out there. So it's probably the number one reason people come to see me, and I help clients clear it up very rapidly. And by rapidly, I'm talking anywhere from 1 to 3 sessions. These are clients that have been oftentimes on many forms of medication. They've been on so much medication that they literally rattle, as one of my clients said, as they walk. They've gone through years of counselling or psychotherapy and are still, in their own words, fucked up. Now, I've never used language like that. Never described my clients like that. It's more than a few describe themselves that way. And there is a way out of it. There is a way. How do I know? How do you know there's a way out of it, Luke? I hear you ask. Because I found a way out for myself. I suffered from anxiety before it was a cool thing to suffer from. I was having anxiety before I knew what anxiety was. From about the age of 9 to about the age of 19. I had anxiety most days. I found a way out. And equally, I found a way out of helping about 5,000 specific cases of anxiety one-on-one with people over about the last 23 years or so. I'm also writing a book on anxiety, on the tools that I've used, case studies, stories. So that's why I'm a good person to talk about anxiety. However, today's mini Facebook Live is entitled Anxiety and Emotional Flashbacks. I want to give you a tool. I'm actually going to give you a tool today, something that you can leave at the end of today's session, that you can use, something that I use daily, keeps that anxiety beast monster at bay. It's something I've never taught before. It's something that I have not taught my clients yet, but it's something I've been using for months now. And it's a fusion of what we call mnemonics, which comes generally from magic, using your fingers, using numbers to link certain things to your fingers. So let me just briefly tell you the difference between a flashback and an emotional flashback. Hey Paul, hey Eric, if you're out there, give me a thumbs up, give me a wave. Does anyone know I did make a video, about a 5-minute video that I put on this very page a couple of weeks ago, on the difference between a flashback, a traditional flashback that we'd call a flashback, see how many times I can get flashback into the sentence, and an emotional flashback. Okay, a flashback typically, if we go to the client that's suffering the symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD, let's say it's a soldier, right? And they come back from the Afghanistan war. It actually happened to quite a few of my clients. And they have a flashback when they remember bullets coming at their head or a big explosion going off. They see it, they see the movie inside their head very fast, and it's even if they're in a pretty safe environment like downtown Toronto, they'll have that flashback inside their head, and suddenly they'll be back there fighting the enemy, having bullets at their head, hearing explosions, and they'll feel that in their body. There's a specific instance, okay? That's a traditional flashback. An emotional flashback's a bit trickier. You're going about your business, this is me walking down the street, everything's going hunky-dory, nothing bad's really happening to you, and you're walking around and then suddenly you feel bad for no reason. Maybe you feel anxious, maybe you feel sad. Nothing's happened, nothing's really changed, but you feel bad and you don't know why. For any particular reason, it just came out of nowhere. That's an emotional flashback. A little bit trickier to get those because there isn't that inroad, there isn't necessarily that specific thing. Emotional flashback is certain triggers, certain environments, certain things were around. We start with linked emotions and we'll go directly into that emotion. Or there'll be some stuff that goes into our implicit memory, generally before the age of 5, before our conscious mind, our intellect came on hold and started to, online I should say, and started to edit our memories. It's stuff that we won't consciously remember, that we'll have emotional flashbacks, again, generally before the age of 4 or 5, and we'll miss generally the vision, the visualization, the specific event, and we'll just go into feeling. It can be really tricky to deal with those. There are ways of dealing with that, and I'm going to show you the tool that I use in my own life to deal with that. So here's what I do, and you can watch this video as many times as you need to remember this, right? Get one of your hand, doesn't matter which one of your hand is, and if you're having a panic attack, or you're having an emotional flashback, or you're having a traditional flashback, here's how you can get out of it, okay? First thing you do is you use your thumb, and on your thumb, you tell yourself, I am not my flashbacks. So what that does straight away, it kind of separates you from your flashbacks, eh? It's almost like you go from being in the movie to sitting in the cinema watching the movie. It's really powerful. And I've used a lot of technical words in dealing with problems. It's a really powerful one. So the first thing, you're feeling shitty, you have an emotional flashback, a traditional flashback, anxiety, panic attack. Use your hand. First thing, the thumb, and you say to yourself, I am not my flashbacks. Help dissociate yourself from the flashback. And most people that are having flashbacks have dissociated themselves from the good feelings, but they're associating themselves with bad feelings. That's number one. Number two, you use your index finger. Your index finger is like your pointy finger, right? You're pointing out. You use your index finger to rehearse what you want. So let's say, you're getting these shitty feelings inside your body. Pointy finger, index finger. What do you want? Well, I want to be happy. I want to move forward. I want to be successful. I want to take the next step in my life. I want to become unstuck. I want to let go of the future. So your index finger is what you want, stated in the positive, i.e. you don't say things like, I'm not stuck anymore, or I'm not having a flashback. Because if I say, don't think of a purple tree, what do you have to do inside your mind? You have to think of a purple tree in order to not think of the purple tree. It's a weird linguistical trick. So ask for what you want. That's what you do with the middle finger. Here is our Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, just came online. I'm going to murder your name right now. I'm sorry, don't put me in a rear naked choke. Adlita, how are you? Nice to see you. You're going to use your middle finger. This one right here. You're going to use your middle finger. And what you do with your middle finger, that's to remind you, your middle finger, that you have emotions. Emotions come up. But they come up so they can go. They come up so you can express them, that you can feel them, and then you can let go. If you just come online, if you're just watching, give us a wave, give us a thumbs up so I know you're there. So your middle finger is to remind you, you have these things called emotions. They are going to come up. They're not going to stay forever. But you don't get caught up in the emotions. You allow yourself to feel it for a period of time. And simply say, my emotions are just signals. They come up so I can deal with them, learn from them, and let them go. Hey Sage, how are you? If you're watching, if you haven't already, peer pressure, give me a wave, give me a thumbs up. Your ring finger, this finger, doesn't matter which hand you use, but your ring finger, with my green lantern on right there, your ring finger, you engage in acts of self-love each day. So your ring finger, this one here, is you remember to engage acts of self-love every day. Now, that's your rude mind. I don't mean self-love like that. It isn't love anyways. Self-love might be for me, I might just rub my solar plexus here. Just makes me feel good. Self-love. Self-love isn't overeating or overwatching TV, playing video games or overwatching porn either. Self-love might be, if Mr. B and Tigra are here, let's see if Tigra comes when I call out her name. It's one of my cats. Tigra! Tigra! She might come in a minute. But that's what I'll do with my cats is I'll cuddle with them, I'll lie on them. Sometimes they like it, sometimes they don't. But it's an act of self-love I might do, right? Maybe I have a hot bath. Maybe I put the shower on and I just focus on the warmth of the warm water hitting different muscles on my body. It's a form of self-love. So this finger, your ring finger, is to remind you to enact, to reenact, to live, to engage, that's the word I'm looking for, in acts of self-love every day. Hey Scotty, how are you? And your little finger, I'm going to give you a recap at the end, all right? And you can always rewatch this video. Your little finger is to let you know. It's almost like chopping. If you've ever done any martial arts and you're chopping, right? Your little finger's to let you know, this is mine, this is yours. I am my own self. So it lets you to chop off, not chop that off. I'm not going to do a Lorena Bobbitt, but it allows you to chop off that bad feeling, especially if it's involving someone else, to let you know, I'm chopping, this is yours, this is mine. I'm my own self. Thanks, Scotty. Right back at you. Let's go through again. If you're engaged in a panic attack, an emotional flashback, or a traditional flashback, hand, mnemonics, what do? First thing, do this multiple times a day, morning, afternoon and evening, in different situations, to allow you to get rid of those negative anchors that you've got. Those things that are keeping you stuck, that allow you to flashback, that you're not even aware that you're flashbacking, other than you're feeling bad for no reason. So remember, what do we use the thumb for? The thumb comes up to remind you, you are not your flashbacks. Hey Natalia, that's your thumb. Gives you some separation. Your pointy finger, I'm pointing at you, it's rude, eh? But your pointy finger, that's to remind you you're going forward. So what do you want? What do you want? Stated in the positive. Well, I'm going forward. I'm letting go of the past. I'm going for what I want. I'm going for what I need. I'm going to attract better people into my life, a better quality of health into my life. You're stating what you want in the positive. Middle finger is to remember your emotions are simply signals. They're trying to deliver a message to you. Once they know that you've received the message, they can dial down the emotion and it can go. So it's reminding you to feel the emotion, but not to get stuck with it. It's just a signal, just trying to tell you something. Once you get it, it will go. Your ring finger is to remind you to engage in acts of self-love each day. Whether that be a warm bath, some self-meditation, a little bit of self-massage, playing with your cat, playing with your dog. Just being somewhere in the moment, self-love. Again, remember, self-love isn't overeating, over-sexting, over-playing video games, watching too much Netflix. This is not self-love. All right? And the last thing, the little finger is to remind you, it's like in karate or a martial art, you're cutting off, right? You're like, especially if it's involving someone else, this emotional flashback. This is yours. It's cutting off. This is yours. This isn't mine. This is mine. I am my own self. I've got my own piece of the puzzle, my own piece of the pie that I'm dealing with here. I'm dealing with that. I ain't dealing with your shit. This is your shit. Cutting that off. You deal with that. I'm going to deal with my shit and only my shit, because that's the only thing I've got control of. So that's the mnemonics. That's how to deal with panic attacks. That's how to deal with flashbacks. It's how to deal with emotional flashbacks very well. Just use it in multiple situations, so then it starts to generalize. You know, if you start to go into these emotional flashbacks in your car, but you don't know why, do it in your car, do it when you're on the toilet, do it when you're in the shower, do it before you go to bed, when you wake up in the morning, when you go out for groceries, when you go for your run. Use this in multiple different situations to collapse those negative anchors, those negative reminders, whether they're visual, kinesthetic or auditory, that are making you feel shitty, that are making you feel bad. Okay, so if you forget, just rewatch this video, watch it a few times and use that in multiple different situations. Hey Richard, How are you? So I'm going to be coming at you every single day this week around about this time. So it's about 4:24 here in Toronto. So every day this week, Monday to Sunday, I'm going to be coming at you anywhere from about between 4 and 4:30. Going to laying down some knowledge bombs on you on how to deal with anxiety and how to give yourself more freedom. Hey Kim, so join us every day around about this time where I'll be dropping some knowledge on you to help you transform. And as always, like, share this, comment on it underneath. Anything you want me to address in any upcoming Facebook Lives, put it in the comments. I'll read them and I'll probably do a Facebook Live on it and give you a shout out. As I always like to say, always believe.